Hi there, David Meredith here from Virtual IT. This is a more in-depth overview of our learner management system. You enter the system by coming onto this login page where you would put in your username and your password, and that takes you through to our main switchboard. There you'll find we have modules for clients, learners, the qualification builder, and a training event scheduler, and the assessment section. Clients is fairly straightforward. We can capture contact details for them right the way through. Here we have sections called our primary and secondary categories. We use those for marketing. For instance, if you're in the insurance industry, or they're your clients, your primary would be insurance, your secondary could be short-term household, so you get a feel for where your business is coming from and opportunity areas. If you're running on a server, or if you've got one of our multi-user licenses, you can capture as many additional contacts as you like. We have a sales module where we capture sales information from this client, putting in such things as source. We have reports on where your business is coming from. Is it word of mouth? Is it email or media? And the value. In terms of value, we can also have a thing called what we call probability of sale, which shows you how far through the sales pipeline you are. For instance, initially somebody might be interested. That would be about 35% through the sales pipeline in this particular demonstration. And also onto things like product to be evaluated, 70%, etc. And you can pull up a sales report for any given period. It helps if you actually put the numbers in correctly, and to an end period, and it'll give you a sales report that tells you what's in progress, what you've won, and also what you've lost. We can then go on to our communication log where we can record communications. When we add a communication, it puts the date and time automatically. We can record what's been said to the client, and if we need to call again, we can pop a date in, and the system will print out a report for you, either weekly, daily, monthly, whatever you want, to tell you who has to communicate with who and when. If you've got documents on your computer, on your server, and you can access them, then you can go in and double click and you can hyperlink to those documents. And once you've done that, at any given time when you're talking to a client and they talk about the service level agreement, you can double click, open it, and you can chat away about the contents of it. On the admin section, we would look at things such as the skills development levy number for your client, the skills development facilitator, and the VAT number that they may have. Now the VAT number will then appear on any invoices that you send through to them if you wish to use that facility in the database. We can also get a list of learners from clients, and click on the button there, so any of the learners from AA Timberland will be listed here with their names, contact details, and if we want the list of their managers and department heads or departments they're in. Now when we look at the learner section, it takes a lot of information, but it really depends on what you need to capture. The top section we've left really for the demographics, but we put our client in there. When we put the ID number in, it would check for a number of things. Are there 13 digits in it? It's a South African one, that is. Has the number ever been entered before, which is probably the most important part of it, because in this database you will only enter the information on your learners once. You can put them on as many courses as you like, but the information will only go in there once. So the ID number, when it's entered, it checks that there are 13 digits, if it's South African. Has it ever been entered before? What is the date of birth? And it pulls it out, and the age, and the equity. The rest of the information we would capture as we go along. We have sections here like type of learner. Now that's on a drop-down. And you'll notice right through the whole database we have these little drop-down arrows. And therefore popping information in quickly, if you're a poor typist like I am, but also by double-clicking you can personalize the information in the database. Going on from there, we could, if we want to search for any particular learner, we can use any of the fields at the top there. We could use the ID number, the name. When we enter any student in, it gives us a unique reference number that stays with that student right through the life of their time in the database. If they get deleted, it goes with them. If you have your own student numbers or your clients want you to use their employee numbers, we can enter them here. Now, as I said earlier, I've got 1,393 learners in my system or in my database here. If I want to find any in particular, I can search on the top there. In this case, I'm going to go to the last name, find a learner. It's exactly the same as with Word and Excel. Search for the formats, find next, and that will take me through to Anna. And once I've got that information, I can work with Anna right through the database. I can put a copy of a photograph in if I've got access to it on my computer or my server. And once I've done that, I can print out a student ID card. I can print out a student registration form, which gives me all the information I have in the database on Anna. I can send out a blank one, and that would get through to Anna. She could copy the information we require, send it back, and our data captures can then put that information into the database. Up here, we close the report. We have a contact section for Anna and her details, guardian if she's underage. We have another communication log, which shows the information, and again, by adding a new record, it puts the date and time automatically. We have an absenteeism section there for Anna, that if she calls in sick and she's not making the courses for any information, we can log it, pull out a report, and we can get that sent through to her supervisor, manager, whoever, so they're kept up to speed with the fact that some of their learners aren't attending the course for whatever reason. We can look at education, tertiary, informal education, and we can add as many as we like. If we're just putting the information there for CETA requirements, then we would put in the overall highest qualification achieved. The record of learning and assessment is just a snapshot, a quick view of what Anna's been doing while she's been in our database and the courses she's done with us. Here we can see that she's taken 3 courses. So far there's no results in the first one, the Agri-CETA one. She's been found competent in the FETC, and the other one's got no information in it as well. So it probably means that the first and last Anna's still doing the courses, and she's been assessed on the middle one. If I want more information, I can click on my individual assessment report. You see there she hasn't actually started that one there. We go into the next one, and it tells us the unit standards, the description, the credits, who the assessor was, and that she's been found competent. And on the longer ones you see at the end there, it'll tell us what was required in terms of competencies and what has been achieved and what is the overall result. Again, that's just a quick snapshot. That information comes through from the training event scheduler, which we'll look at just now. Links to learner files, well, there's 14 links there, but we can add as many as we like. So if I want to record Anna's certificate she may have, a copy of her ID book, I've got that facility. If you don't have a disciplinary system in terms of your HR policies at the moment, some CETAs like to make sure you've got something in line to deal with it, so we have our disciplinary section here and our grievance section. If you do have your own system in progress at the moment or working at the moment, we can link to copies of the information that's to do with any grievances or any disciplinary action that's been discussed about Anna. On admin and vouchers, learner vouchers, for the CETAs that give out vouchers to learners for courses that you've been accredited with. This is not an accounting system, but you can record that information. Learner admin, we can put in any special needs that Anna may have. We can put if she's been on an induction course. Any medical information, particularly if you're in the industries where they're driving heavy plant or equipment or even cranes, they need to have medical examinations, and we can link to a copy of that, and criminal records, etc. Employment, we can look at 2 ways. One is that if we do it for historical employment, we can then maybe use that information for RPL purposes. If we have a completion date in here and a reason for the completion of a course, thereafter we can capture information and then pull out a post-learnership or a gainful employment report. Now moving on to the qualification side of things, when we deliver the database, it has all the unit standards that are available at the time. Thereafter, you can go to the SACWA website, and bear in mind you'll find all this information in our training manuals and in our training videos. Go to the SACWA website, pull down the template, save it onto your computer, we tell you where, and then go to administration, click on import unit standards, and the system will then draw in all the latest unit standards that SACWA have released, so you can keep your database up to date. They normally release them every sort of 2.5 months, and then your database is completely up to date. If you're working with non-unit standard based qualifications or courses, you could just add a record here, type in the title of that module, give it a reference number, maybe using the first letters of your company to make it more identifiable later on, and it'll follow exactly the same principle in building the qualification that we're going to follow now. For building a qualification, we go through to the system, we type in a title, we'll call this demo LMS, and the fact that the information is already loaded on unit standards into the system, we've just got to go down and either click on the drop down We'll start typing the first couple of letters, find the unit standard, pop it in, and then all we need to do is put in core, fundamental, or elective. The rest of the information at the top here would come down from the SEC or qualification that you would find on their website, or your own personal information if it's one of your own modules that you're doing. And if you don't want that unit standard, we just highlight it, press delete. It'll always check to make sure before we delete anything that we're okay with it. Say yes, and away it goes.